Now available in paperback and e-readers. John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Legendary singer Tina Turner passed away on Wednesday at 83 years old. And I was on the fence about making a video about Tina Turner because while she made great contributions to music as the queen of rock and roll, I really don't want to go out here and pay any tribute to Tina Turner because of the way she demonized Ike Turner and demonized black men by proxy. Now, Tina Turner was born Anna Mae Bullock on November 26, 1939, and as I was reading about her past growing up, she basically fits the pattern and profile for women that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And Tina Turner grew up poor in Tennessee, the daughter of a sharecropper, and she was picking cotton at an early age. And as she was in the home with her siblings, she went out and saw her mother experiencing abuse at the hands of her father. Now, according to Tina Turner, she alleges that her mother didn't really want to be married to this man, but because she wound up pregnant, they wound up being forced to stay together. And I believe that started laying the pattern for Tina Turner's later future relationships with other men that she got involved with. I believe that Tina Turner basically was a woman in crisis in her early years, and on seeing her mother being abused, what happened was that the mother eventually wound up leaving the family and eventually wound up abandoning the children. And as she abandoned the children, this created trauma for Anna Mae Bullock. And as she was sent to live with their maternal grandmother after the father married after the mother left the home, I believe what happened was this trauma basically stayed with Tina Turner, who was singing and in the church and then looked to go out here and further go on with her career in different jobs. She was working as a nurse's aide after she graduated high school, and then after this began to go to nightclubs where she saw Ike Turner, and it was Ike Turner who basically was the one who started her on the road to being an entertainer. And as she was on the road to being an entertainer, while she was working with Ike Turner's band, she got involved with one of the band members and had a son with that band member. So I'm looking at Anna Mae Bullock, also known as Tina Turner's pattern of behavior. And that pattern of behavior showed me that she basically learned dysfunction at an early age, and then as she learned dysfunction at an early age, she then took it into her adult life, and as she took it into her adult life, she was working and again building up her success at the side of Ike Turner, and as she was building up success with Ike Turner and his Kings of Rhythm Band and his Ikeettes, they were again touring the Chitlin circuit and were on their way to building success, and then eventually wound up becoming mainstream successful as Ike and Tina. And as they got mainstream success, they became icons of the 1960s and 1970s and became a big iconic part of the 20th century music. Now, the couple sadly wound up breaking up due to issues as related to Ike Turner being addicted to cocaine, and eventually the whole situation deteriorated as related to a domestic violence situation that got so out of control as they were going their way from Los Angeles to Dallas, where they had a gig at the Dallas Statler Hilton, and that physical altercation got so out of control that Tina Turner left Ike Turner with only 36 cents and a mobile gas card that and hit at the Ramada Inn across the freeway. And this incident led to her filing for divorce from Ike Turner. And after she filed for divorce from Ike Turner, she then wound up leaving him and then started to release albums that were solo. And her early solo albums really didn't do well. But it wasn't until she did her, I believe, her 1980s album with the legendary song "What's Love Got to Do with It." And I think the album was called Private Dance or something like that. But there's a whole bunch of songs on there. I remember it from the 80s. I remember it being a major part of the 80s and it being a legendary song, a legendary group of songs on that album. And again, this was the album that basically revived her career and took her to the next level. Yes, it was the Private Dancer album that took her to the next level in 1984 and revived her career to make her a major music star of the 80s. And that whole album is again another part of the iconic 80s music, along with Madonna's Like a Virgin, Prince's Purple Rain, Michael Jackson's Thriller. When you think of these albums, they define 80s R&B music, and they defined black music for that era. And Tina Turner was an icon of 1980s music in her mid 40s with her iconic teased out hair and her outfits. I remember them because I grew up listening to her music back in the 1984. I was about 11 years old, and I also saw a lot of her music videos. And then she went on to star in the sequel to the Road Warrior, which was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which was a major hit, and this was her first major acting role. And again, this movie was a huge hit, and it was a big movie for the 80s. And I remember her singing on the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome soundtrack. And that movie was, again, huge because she was a major part of that movie of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And that was a big movie for the 1985. That was one of the big movies of the year. And this one was one where she, again, had the song We Don't Need Another Hero, which is one that she won a Grammy Award for. And again, this was a big song for her. And she was known for this right here, but while she's had great success as related to music, I really am hesitant to go out here and pay any sort of tribute to Tina Turner, because it was right after she got this success is where she basically looked to turn her back on foundational Black Americans who had been supporting her and her music for years, because after this, she just decided to go out here and move out of the U.S. and have absolutely nothing to do with black people outside of people like Oprah Winfrey. And it was that her association with Oprah Winfrey is a thing that basically made me not really hesitant to make any video about her, because it was her association with Oprah Winfrey and the whole narratives that she was pushing at the time as related to black men that she pushed, and it helped contribute to the misandristic anti-black man agenda by going out here looking to demonize Ike Turner. Now, while Ike and Tina had their issues as related to their relationship, Tina Turner basically went out here and continued to support the misandristic anti-black man narrative that people like Oprah Winfrey pushed in the mainstream media. And part of that was with her so-called autobiography, I, Tina, where she exaggerated details as related to the abuse she allegedly received at the hands of Ike Turner. And this was, again, all part of an ongoing narrative that many whites and non-blacks were pushing in the mainstream media to demonize the image of heterosexual black men and try to push the narrative that black men were black brutes who were violent, out of control individuals who were so lustful for women and so violent when they couldn't get their way. And I, Tina, that book was a part of that anti-black man propaganda that helped reinforce the narrative in the 80s that black men were these violent individuals who were just actively looking to go out here to beat up and abuse black women. And this book, I, Tina, along with The Color Purple and the later movie What's Love Got to Do with It, starring Angela Bassett. While this movie is critically acclaimed, it features Lawrence Fishburne playing a exaggerated, brutish Ike Turner. And this exaggerated, super brute Ike Turner, this is something that Tina Turner basically co-signed on. And this is one of the issues I have with Tina Turner. She basically co-signed the misandristic anti-black man narrative in the 80s and co-signed the anti-black man propaganda that women like Oprah Winfrey were looking to perpetuate as related to the narrative as related to heterosexual black men. And that is a core part of her later legacy along with her music. Yes, her music was absolutely fantastic during the 80s, and she did have a great revival, but the one thing that I have an issue with is, again, the way she went out here and supported anti-black man narratives, and using Ike Turner by proxy to go out here and be the representative for the collective of black men. Because what she did was, again, co-sign a narrative that the mainstream media wanted to present to demonize black men, and she could have easily gone out here and gone out here and debunked a lot of this stuff, but instead she co-signed it because she wanted to get a covert contract fulfilled where she could go out here and receive validation from the mainstream media. And because she wanted validation from the mainstream media and wanted validation from whites and non-blacks, she basically threw black men under the bus and by demonizing Ike Turner, and threw black men by proxy under the bus as she went out here, got her success, and after she got her success, she then left America and then wanted nothing to do with black people. And as she went to go out here and get away from black people, she got herself a life in the UK, and then after that became a citizen of Switzerland. So she was looking to walk away from black people. And that's why I don't want to walk over to Tina Turner and make any sort of tribute like I've done for other legendary black performers like the late Harry Belafonte or the late Sidney Poitier, because those brothers went out here and they went out of their way to do things for black people. And while those men, even though both of them did have white wives, they were active in the civil rights movement. They were active in trying to help protect and preserve black people's rights. And they were looking to stand at the side of black people. But Tina Turner wasn't looking to stand with black people. No, she was looking to get away from black people. And I believe one of the reasons why she wanted to get away from black people is because she correlated black people with abuse. But the whole thing is, she didn't want, the irony of it all is she couldn't see how the white supremacists she was supporting were the reason why many of those black people were at their wits' end. The reason why her father was a sharecropper was because white supremacists went out here and destroyed black people's ability to make a living after the Reconstruction and destroyed black people's ability to have their own economy. And that's why that black man was in a situation where he was struggling. And that's what Tina Turner didn't understand. And she also possibly didn't understand that Ike Turner wasn't part of the problem. No, Ike Turner, she basically threw him under the bus and was looking to, again, participate in hypergamy like she did when she was with one of his musicians and had a son, then monkey branched over to Ike, and then as things started to deteriorate, she decided to leave Ike, and then monkey branched over to the white man. So that's where I have issues with Tina Turner, because Tina Turner turned away from the black community. She turned away from black people. She has had nothing to do with black people for over 30 years. Yes, she made great music, but her character wasn't that great, because she basically walked away from foundational black Americans and wanted to be an individual by herself. And she wanted to be by herself and not with black people. She went as far as, again, marrying a white man in her later years and then going out here and then moving away from black people and wanting nothing to do with trying to empower other black people. No, it was all about her and her being with this white man. And again, she's out here with this white man, living and doing and living that life outside of America, living outside of our community. And yeah, I will celebrate Tina Turner's legacy as related to her musical success and her contributions to music. But again, I have mixed feelings about Tina Turner, and that's why I just cannot go out here and give her any sort of tribute, because this woman basically, what she did to black men was make life harder for us, painted a picture like we were the bad guys, made it look like we were the villains of society, and went out here and helped people like Oprah Winfrey and the white media that was behind her go out here and push misandristic anti-black man narratives. And again, that's where I have an issue with Tina Turner. While her music is simply the best, I just can't see the way that she treated black men and treated the image of black men as anything but subpar. And that's why I just, again, have mixed feelings about talking about Tina Turner in any way, shape, or form. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like many more videos, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today.